particularly if you've got some real estate where it's in one party's name, although they've lived there together for 15 years. And so the person whose name is on the deed locks, changes the locks. That's a ouster, and as I said, there's monetary damages for that. I just finished one loss, by the way, in last fall, and there were about 7 different causes of action, everything theft, conversion, everything but assault that could have been that. But fortunately, either side raised it. And in that case, what you can also allege is an a partnership, an oral partnership. But the real caution here, the relationship itself is not a partnership. The only way you can have a partnership in Texas is if there is an agreement to conduct a business for a profit. Now, it is not unusual, by the way, for partners to, I've had one where they bought several pieces of rental property, and they owned those. They were all in one of the parties' names, but they worked on them together. And we alleged successfully in that case an oral partnership. The one I just got through with, there were 2 businesses that brought in a couple $1 million a year, but they were all in one of the parties' names. And we tried to allege an oral partnership there, and we didn't succeed. But that's the what we didn't do. So it's a fascinating area of the law. It's very challenging. If you get into litigation, it's very tiring too. Yeah. And you
Great, thank you. This next question is for Mr. Crowe. Your focus is on adoption and reproductive issues. What are the regulations? I know nothing about adoption, so I don't know if there's any differences at all between a hetero couple, such as myself and my husband, or a different couple, either a lesbian couple or a male gay couple, that would like to go through the adoption process in Texas. I don't know the difference between an open adoption and a closed adoption, so maybe if you get a little bit of background on that. And then, are there any extra hardships or hurdles that an LGBT couple would have to go through that a hetero couple doesn't necessarily have to deal with to adopt a newborn?
Okay. Generally family building will sort of fall into about 4 categories, and this is sort of what we do, just sort of the repeating business that we do. It's going to be assisted reproduction. It's going to be domestic infant adoption. It's going to be adoption through Child Protective Services, and then international adoption. So these Same sort of process, there could be artificial insemination. Typically, those donors are anonymous. There's lots of sperm banks, there's lots of donor banks that you could make a selection about who you wanted to be the biological father of the child.